President Trump has expanded the sort of aura of the presidency and the power of the presidency without congressional check. There's some concern that the Democrats may come into power and seek retribution and not reconciliation. Are we possibly in this vicious cycle? I mean, is it a Nelson Mandela character that we need that talks about, okay, we've had that, let us seek reconciliation? Or is retribution going to be sort of the name of the game if that happens?
I think that's a very profound question. And, I know there was a sort of a smile in your eyes. You mentioned Nelson Mandela, but it will require a very kind of selfless next president to say, I now have all these powers, and precedent and the Supreme Court have granted me sweeping powers. Nevertheless, for the sake of American democracy, I'm not going to use them. I'm going to put this genie back in the bottle. I'm going to close Pandora's box. There's not many leaders in history who've done that, which is why I do understand why you've reached for that sort of iconic and almost sort of religious figure in Nelson Mandela. It will require something amazingly selfless. The indications, while we're in it, in some ways go the opposite direction. And the nature of democratic backsliding is that the only way, while you're in it, to fight it is actually to accelerate it. And that sounds paradoxical, but you think of, for example, Gavin Newsom's move in California. So there's gerrymandering going on in Texas. That's a bad thing for democracy. Congressional districts should be drawn by a nonpartisan independent body. Texas broke that norm. You can just sit there going, well, that's not how it should be done. And then you'll just lose the House of Representatives. Or you do what Gavin Newsom has done and said, okay, you want to play that game? Now we're going to play that game. And you then get a race to the bottom, a sort of anti-democratic arms race. You saw it a bit, actually, even with Joe Biden's pardons. He understood that Trump was going to weaponize the Department of Justice. He wasn't wrong, by the way. And therefore, he used his pardons to, his own son and associates. That debased the political process more and more. That is the nature of democratic backsliding, that sometimes the only way to keep your head above water from, stop yourself drowning, is to engage in the same democratic backsliding as your opponent. At some point, somebody has to call a halt to it. And I think it will require somebody of huge vision who doesn't think, well, all this autocracy thing, it was bad when the other guys did it, but now that I'm in this chair, I quite like it.